Out of the Cave to Become Men, Journaling History by Doug Ferguson. Read by Doug Ferguson. What is this book about? An understanding of the world around us is needed to get the most out of life. People, not things, are the essence of the world we live in, so it is of vital importance to know people. People have conflicts now and in the past, though things are faster than ever, yet the same conflicts exist. Understanding these people of history gives us a framework to understand the world we live in and the direction we are going. The people who moved history can be our mentors. When we visualize the world through their reality, to know their reality, be empathetic, see the world through their eyes, think their thoughts, understand their words. People of the past have created the cultural structures which forms the laws and institutions of our society and our world. How did they do this, and what were their motives? How did these people in history deal with the conflicts and confusion in us and around us? This book is a journey to uncover some of the mysteries to help us understand the flow of our history. With the understanding of history and the people around us, our life can be transformed from reacting to proacting. With knowledge, we no longer need to be afraid, for we can change the world. We are going to dig into the history of our past. In our journey, we will find that historians sleuth about and judge the world. For the historian takes the witnesses of many and tries to determine what really happened. Historians question and follow the path of answers as they explore many archaeological people. You might have the impression that it is all well understood, that the narratives of history are exact, and it really doesn't matter because it is history. It is over and done with. I hope to give you an understanding of the dynamics and flow of history. We are not so different than the people of the past. The people of the past are our mentors. They can guide us through the challenges of life. We are not alone in the dark if we only search and listen to the voices of the past. History, what is it? It is a record of personal consciousness. Yes, there are facts, there are ideas, persons, places, things, narrative, philosophies, drama, and times recorded in history. But the conscious of the mind of the person recording the history is who we are addressing when we read, listen, or touch history. History is meeting the person, the creator of the oratory, the literature, the art. We should not just look at the material, but look at the consciousness that created the history. To know the consciousness is to understand the facts, ideas, philosophies, drama, and people of history. To know the person presenting history is to know their perspective. To know history is to feel the drama of the unknown expectations. Feel the fear, the excitement when you immerse yourself into the life of another. Their focus and their motives become apparent when we look through their mind's eye. The people of history made our world. They did not just react to the lead of others. They were the leaders. We can be the leaders also. Our life should not be just existing as a zombie, just reacting to inputs. Break out from the herd. Think for yourself. Leave the sheep who are being cajoled into the pens up by the media dogs. Don't be just a cog counting the days. Become aware. Be transformed. Knowing consciousness is transformational. When we become aware of others, we are awakened. With awareness, we create ripples in the pond of life. Knowing history, we become history, and that is a good thing. A ripple in the pond of life is to be remembered. Many rocked together change the future course of the river. Let us be aware of the people around us, for they are the rocks which together can redirect and build the future. Let us awaken and determine the course of our life. Let us focus on people, not things. Things are not history. Places, times, and things do not tell history. People are history. History is about life, for just material is not life. The first 7 chapters described my understanding of the human condition, the inner and outer struggles that create crisis for decisions of life, to define who we are, to understand our feelings and what motivates us, to find out if you will join me on my journey of self-discovery. Whether you will be my companion, I call myself a questioner, a Christian questioner, not the Christian questioner. for my understanding of history is not the standard for understanding the Christian interpretation of history. Many would think that one that is a questioner would question Christianity out of their life. These people would not know about the substantial historical evidence of Christ living and being crucified as a historical fact. The reason I am mentioning that I'm a Christian is because I'm not a rubber stamp Christian. I don't fit into anyone's mold, neither the unbeliever or believer, and I try to question and verify as much as I can. Who is the unbeliever? Do they know who they are? Who is the believer? Do they really know what they believe? Who and what are gods? Do I know? Do you know? I ask many questions that people assume they know the answers to. Asking these questions might make some consider me a heretic. I am stating here that I believe in the Christ Jesus, so people will know where I stand no matter what I question. For how could I not believe in Christ Jesus? He is the most verifiable historical documented person before the advent of the enhanced printing press by the German Johannes Gutenberg in 1440 AD. As a Christian, I hold true to the confession of believing in the life, crucifixion, and resurrection of Jesus the Christ, and that he is God in the flesh, the Word that created the universe. Yet some might call me a heretic because of the way I understand the Bible, or by my understanding of what a Christian is. Some will not like that I ask so many questions, and then don't answer them all. But I don't claim to know all the answers, and though I ask questions and may have opinions, it doesn't mean that I have the energy or the knowledge to explain all my quests for the answers of these questions asked. The questions are just to open the door for the inquirer, whether I attempt to answer them or not. In the chapter, In the Beginning, the creation and the exodus of the Bible is paralleled with the narrative drama of Plato's cave allegory. I intertwine the themes of these three narratives into the dramatic narrative of every man becoming an adult, taking the brave steps coming out of the cave to meet the challenge of becoming men. Then the book narrates a modern understanding of how the universe came to be. There is so much more that could be discussed about philosophy, physics, biology, and all the sciences of this complex historical building of knowledge and thought, and it is too much for me to address all of it in this book. In this section, In the Beginning, the narrative, modern, the uniqueness of Earth and the Moon is reasoned as a rare partnership that gave us this chance of life. Is there anywhere else in the universe that such a relationship between the heavenly bodies has occurred? How did the Moon come to be? What are the results of mission probes sent to intercept comets in space? Where and how did comets become embedded with amino acid? Did the process panspermia bring the beginnings of life to the Earth using comets? Are the three processes of forming the Moon, the creation of comets, and life connected? Later I spent some time discussing the geophysics of the Earth, which is something I thought I wouldn't spend so much time on. But as I researched, I became fascinated, and I am amazed at the intricacies of this field of study. Through this book, I have learned some things, and maybe you will too. In the catalyst of the ice ages, death brings new life. The dynamic changes in climate are postulated to be instrumental in setting the stage for men to migrate out of Africa and up into the Euro-Asia continents. During the setting of this stage, genome manipulation by viruses and interspecies dynamics is postulated for the creation of new species. Could it be that the spirit, what is the spirit, nudged proto-man with the promised land teeming with life, and so by faith in that voice they journey on the transformational migrations which birth the new man? Possibly the proximity of life during these migrations allowed for virus tools to be used for natural genome editing of DNA sequences and the creation of new species. These migrations caused by climate change were instrumental in changing man's potential and awakening man's consciousness. Later, the changes in climate led to changes in mankind's social development and beginning of civilizations. This is a new journey of exploration that I'm sure you have never heard of before. I hope it is as fascinating for you as it is for me. No book on the creation of civilizations would be complete without the discussion on the amazing, beautiful spirit of Equinine. The horse, a creature of intelligence, a bridge between continents and feral nature. The creature that transformed civilizations for millenniums. How, why, and when did man first partner with the horse? During and after the chapter evolving from migrations to settlements. Mesopotamia, the Fertile Crescent, the mother of civilization, the birthplace of the modern world, the Goldilocks arena, where maximum idea development and advancement happened, is introduced. I know you will like Mesopotamia, though she is more woman than many men could handle. For the woman called Mesopotamia dramatically seduced, threatened, beat, cried, screamed, and gave birth to nations across the ancient world. In her maelstrom cauldron, stirred with fierce and deadly competition, mankind didn't know whether to love her or to leave her, and many did both in this operatic theater. What do you say to that? Did I prick your interest? I hope that I will not disappoint you in presenting this drama. In the chapter, Migrations of Philosophies, there is the discussion of the development and migrations of writing and philosophy of Mesopotamia, which seeded out several flowering civilizations. The competitive winds of Mesopotamia blew seeds to distant lands where the amazing ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Jewish people grew into nations. How can one write a book about the ancient Egyptian people without wondering about the majestic enduring pyramids? This too I explored in the why and how to build these superstructures, from the postulations of the ancient Greeks to modern archaeology and unorthodox theories. The chapter on the pyramids percolates theories from the minds of men. How I wish I had the energy and the time to discuss the battery electrolysis generator, wild time warp, Stargate, interstellar laser communication devices, and other theories. But at last I shut down that chapter short. Maybe in another book I might have some fun with this. Why, oh why, do I have a chapter on the Euthyphro dilemma? I mean, who has heard of this word before? Why even mention this? An entire chapter? I have got to be kidding. But there it is, a secret code that either makes or breaks any government that ever existed, hidden in the halls of Plato's thoughts. Try your hand at understanding the mystery. Those in power that didn't know its power over them had their life and reign cut short. In the next chapter, the title explains itself as the search for what is the Bible. In the 19th century, this ancient compilation of books lost their mystery in the minds of many. The Bible became a superstitious babbling of the uneducated primitive barbarians in the minds of the intellectual elite. It has been thought by many that the preachers and priests were using the Bible to con the weak-minded for their personal gain. It was thought of as just legends, and those who followed it would die from the onslaught of scientism and atheism, as reason and logic would win over blind faith in some superstition. But their predictions didn't happen. Why? This fierce battle continues, and the aftermath of scientism wins has caused nations to fail and use their history to embrace relativism, generalizing all religions as the same. All sexes are meaningless, and in their denial of reality they have turned to hide in their echo chambers and safe spaces as the world around them turns into a hell on earth. But this is just my rant as a Christian against the tide of scientism. You can read this chapter and make your own decisions. In the last chapter, what a worldview is defined. How does the worldview create the basis for the interpretation of all relationships and laws in society? Is the worldview the glue that holds a society together? Does the worldview turn a tribe into a great civilization, or nothing at all? A discourse of how the worldview of a tribe Shama is presented to set the stage for the development of a society. In this chapter, some dialogues of conversations on the internet are present. Maybe they will create conversations in your mind to ponder. I hope that the reader will become aware of the many issues of philosophy that drives history. Many issues are addressed in this book, and I hope that you will find them entertaining and informative. This book was a journey for me through history. I hope that you will have some memorial moments come to life for you in your journey through history in this book. Remember to keep the mementos to hang on your framework of memories and ideas of history.